Good evening, and thanks for joining me again. This is Miss Julie Starr, and I'm going to read to you tonight more of the working group on the agreement on the privileges and immunities of the International Criminal Court. Those were the meetings I attended in 2001, the closed meetings at the United Nations in New York City with just the ambassadors of the head of all the missions. It was a meeting and a working group to establish a preparatory commission to establish a newly emergent international criminal court. All right, so let's continue with paper 2 right now. 3, to the extent necessary to carry out the functions of the newly emergent International Criminal Court, the property, funds and assets of the court, wherever located and by whomsoever held, shall be exempt from all restrictions, all international and state regulations and controls or moratoria of any nature. So in other words, gold bars, diamonds, what have you, the Netherlands in particular will profit because they don't have to declare them any customs. They can carry them around in their diplomatic bags. In fact, organized crime would love to have an agreement like this with the rest of the world because they have the court is like its own little country, like the Pope has in Rome. It doesn't have to declare anything. It has diplomatic immunity for all its money, diamonds, gold. The court can walk around and transfer from country to country any type of monetary currency, diamonds, gold at once, without declaring it or without anybody knowing it. All right, now we are going to read from page 2, Article 7, the inviolability of archives and all other documents of the court. The archives of the ICC court, and in general all documents and materials being sent to or from the court, belonging to the court, or held by it, wherever located, and by whomsoever held, shall be inviolable, period. Such inviolability shall be without prejudice to protective measures. Say that the court may order, pursuant to statute, and the rules of procedure and evidence with regards to documents and materials made available or to be used by the court. When documents are to be made available to the court and are subsequently returned to their originators, the inviolability of these documents causes subject to any protective orders made by the court. Then we have in Article 8, it is entitled Exemption from Taxes, Customs, Duties, Import or Export Restrictions of the Court. Does the court have any of these import, export, customs, duties, and taxes? Let's find out. Article 8, Section 1, it states, quote, the court, its assets, the court's income, and other property of the court, and its operations and transactions shall be totally exempt from all direct taxes. Very interesting. I wonder why it has to be exempt from all taxes. Anyway, which include inter alia income tax, capital state tax, corporation tax, as well as direct taxes levied by local and provincial authorities. So the Netherlands, the Hague Court doesn't even have to pay taxes to its own state. The Netherlands. Interesting. It is understood, however, that the court shall not claim exemption from taxes which are, in fact, no more than charges for public utility services. Oh, well, that's nice. It has to pay some taxes on a little electricity it uses. Big deal. Provided at a fixed rate according to the amount of services and utility services rendered, and which can be specifically identified, described, and itemized. Wow. Impressive, right? Not to me. What about you? Okay, Article 8, Section 3 states, quote, goods imported or purchased under an exemption of the court shall not be sold or otherwise disposed of in the territory of that state party. except under conditions agreed with the competent authorities of that state party. So they have their private little deals, the Hague Court and the states that fund them the most. Article 9 is called Reimbursement of Duties and Their Taxes. 1. Part 1, Article 9. The Court, International Criminal Court, shall not, as a general rule, claim exemption from duties and taxes which are included in the price of movable and immovable property, and taxes paid for services rendered. Nevertheless, notwithstanding, when the court, for its official uses, makes major purchases of property and goods or services on which identifiable duties and taxes are charged and are chargeable, state parties shall make appropriate administrative arrangements for the exemption of such charges or reimbursement of the amount of duties paid. In legal talk, that means that if the Hague International Criminal Court needs to buy a few cars from doing business, say, in Colombia, if it was around during the Pinochet case, it would make a closed door, back door diplomatic arrangement with, what am I saying, with Chile, so that if it went to the Ford dealer down there to buy a car, if it had to pay taxes, it would be reimbursed from the country, Chile, for anything it paid. And other than that, the International Criminal Court has diplomatic immunity and doesn't have to pay any taxes on anything at all it buys, whether it's furniture, whether it's rent, whether it's pens, whether it's limousines, or anything else that it uses. Like I said, it acts like it's its own little country, and it's not. It's a court. Maybe an international court, but it's still a court. And why it has privileges and immunities like that, I bet we could ask John Gotti for the answers. Let's see here. Article 9, Section 2 states, goods purchased under such the exemption or reimbursements aforementioned above in Article 1 shall not be sold or otherwise disposed of, except in accordance with the conditions laid down by the state party in which it is dealing with at that time, which means state party, the country it's dealing with, whether it's doing negotiation in Zambia or Syria, wherever it's doing business with. We'll talk to that state party, or ambassador, president, what have you, which granted the exemption or gave the court the reimbursements for any taxes they paid. So it's completely exempt, because court. Why an international criminal court has to be exempt from all taxes, duties, and why it doesn't have to declare if it brings 50 pounds of gold bars into your country is beyond me. I'd like to ask Serge Bromwitz for the answer, but I doubt he'll give it to us. No exemption of monetary reimbursement shall be accorded in respect of charges for public utility services provided to the court. Article 10 is entitled Funds and Freedom from Currency Restrictions. Like I said, this is the Netherlands' little banking business. If the Netherlands loses this court, it loses a way to transfer gold bars, diamonds, currencies, and anything else of monetary value throughout the world without declaring it, without anybody knowing about it. And in fact, it could the Netherlands could be paid by, say, an African country that go all over the world with packages of diamonds and not declare them, and no one would ever know. And the court would never have to pay taxes, and neither would the African country, Zambia, or whatever. This is highly illegal, and I think that you all agree that the world should know about this, and that's why I'm reading it. Let's see. Article 10(1). Without being restricted by financial controls of any kind, the court should not have any regulations or financial material of any kind while carrying out its activities. And the activities of the courtship could be anything. Who knows? Serge Bromwitz travels all over to give his little speeches about Serbia or whatever. While he does that, he probably carries about 50 gold bars, and his pockets are probably lined with diamonds to sell for other countries that the Netherlands are going to make a big commission of. And this is totally allowable by international law. This is a disgraceful, and this is something that every news media outlet in the world should be reporting. I'm open for phone calls. The country code is 1-973-513-5699, area code 973. Again, country code 1 for the United States. My city code is 973. My number is 513-5699. Catch me in my cell anytime, and I'll be happy to answer any of your legal questions regarding the newly emergent International Criminal Court, of which Bill Clinton signed on before he left office. 2, Article 11, no censorship whatsoever will be applied to any officials of the court, their communications, or correspondences of the court. The court can say and do what it pleases without being censored. 3. The court may use all appropriate means of communication, including electronic means, codes, and communications, and have the right to use such codes and ciphers, encryption, for its official communications and correspondences that are secret. The official communication and correspondences of the court shall be inviolable. Boy, holy, in other words. The court shall be and have the right to dispatch and receive correspondences aforementioned and other materials and communications by courier in sealed bags, diplomatic immunity, which shall have the same privileges, immunities, and facilities as diplomatic couriers. Let's stop here for today because I think I'm getting a little long for YouTube, but I think that the world should be interested. And please do call. I will be happy to give any news outfit and interview anywhere in the world that you'd like. I would just need a translator for certain countries. Thank you, and I will talk to you again later.